Perhaps we are at a mantra or the shloka which is most famous in Bhagavad Gita. But if we take a little close look, we are almost on the brink of what can be termed as a philosophical or psychological absurdity. An absurdity in the sense that there is a disciple who has an issue while doing a war, and although he is famous and almost sure that he would be winning the war, all of a sudden he has developed what is called a Vishada and is asking his mentor, who is God himself, that I don't want to fight. I have almost taken a decision of not having this war because I have seen the effects that the war can actually have on the entire society. So, what do you feel about it? So, it's a kind of a resolve that is already communicated. It's kind of a dilemma that he's seeking for some answer. And when somebody has asked a question whether I should be doing an act or I should not be doing an act, here is a person who is talking about nothing dies. I am talking of death and destruction. I am asking you whether should I be destroying the things, should I be incurring the wrath of death and the consequences thereafter? And the answer that you are giving me is what? Nothing dies. The question seems to be on a completely different plane. The answer apparently seems to be on a completely different plane. And in our day-to-day life, if we look at our life, such a beautiful, fine life we feel we are spending. I can actually see my senses working here through my beautifully mastered senses. I'm able to enjoy the material world with some consequences thereof, the sorrow and the pain, etc. I just definitely want to get rid of pain and sorrow in this life and let the life continue. I have no issues with the life. It's all beautiful. Only thing is that there is some time when it ends. I don't want it to end. So there are only two complaints I have about my present life. One is my death, it should not come. And second is the sorrow that it should not come. So somebody like me asks the God that, God, can you take care of these two things which I am really bothered about? The pain that I suffer, the sorrow, and the death that may be imminent upon me. Just take away these two things. I don't need anything from your side. And I expect an answer from the God that, okay, here you are, you will never have sorrow and you will live forever. Instead, the Lord starts telling me about, no, you don't die. I am telling, I know, because I've seen my father dying, I've seen my friends dying, I've seen my grandfather dying, and you are telling me you don't die. Arjuna is saying that if I kill them, then there will be so much of a problem and chaos in the society. The societal norms will be vitiated. And you are telling me you don't kill. Nobody dies. The answer and the question don't seem to be apparently on the same plane. And this is the philosophical or psychological apparent absurdity that we need to resolve. The very purpose of the mantra is to resolve this particular absurdity. Arjuna had started from this extreme end of the spectrum of material world. And the answer, Lord had started from another extreme end of the spectrum, which is the spiritual end of the spectrum. Now, how a spiritual answer can be an answer to a material question? You see, this is the biggest dilemma in spiritual life. I need to earn money for my family. Answer is nothing dies. You are Aj Amara, Nitya. The person says that, Bhai, I want something to eat for my family. You're talking of Aj Amara. How do you reconcile? That's why day-to-day life or transactional world or the Vyavaharika Vishwa and the Adhyatmic Vishwa, they somehow seem to be irreconcilable for us simply because we intend to be in the field of transactional world and we want to solve the problem of spiritual world. Now we will come to know and understand the Tray Siddhanta Trisatta Siddhanta of Shankaracharya. Vyavaharika Satta and Adhyatmik Satta, how do you reconcile? And the fact is that the prime Satta is Adhyatmik Satta, spiritual world. Once that is correctly understood, remaining two Sattas are easy to lead. And that is what we saw. Gurudeva, being in the realm of spiritual world, was able to solve any problem of transactional world so easily that we were surprised that this man has no resources of the kind I have. And yet he is doing the epoch-making work while I can't do even a minor work. I felt I have all the knowledge of stock market. Swamiji never indulged into it, and yet he had everything what I wanted, and I never got what I needed. Reconciliation between the spiritual and the transactional world is precisely where the mantra comes into the picture. The question asked is, should I be doing the war or not? Answer given is, Nainan Chindanti Shastrani. मैं शस्त्र लेके खड़ा हूं and you are telling me कि नैनन छिंदन्ति शस्त्राणि. This reconciliation is what we need to read in the light of Gurudeva's explanation. The very first statement on this mantra given by Gurudeva is, transcendental truth cannot be explained only in terms of the limited and the finite. What is he trying to say? Through the transactional world, you cannot be trying to understand this concept in the spiritual plane. In order that you understand what the spiritual plane means, we will have to willy-nilly, not that you really wanted it, but you have no choice. A child wanted to know what is PhD, and he is in first standard. You have no choice but to explain him in terms of first standard, like the way you are studying now, keep studying, then the PhD comes. Is this the narration or description of PhD? No. Do you have any other choice? No. What does that mean? It means that at present, till you are in first standard, we have no choice but to go this way, so that once you go to the higher standards, once the buddhi starts moving from your raw intellect to refined intellect, from prakruta buddhi to sanskruta buddhi, you shall have better comprehensive grappling of the issue. And that being the reason, Lord here is trying to tell Arjuna, although you may not be convinced, although you may not understand the purport of what I'm talking, let me start from that point, because that is the answer of all your questions. That point where every question in this life ends, let me start from that standpoint, and then I will come back to resolve the differences. That's why we have different yogas now coming up. One after the other, the chapters are coming for reconciling these two differences. You don't die. And Arjuna is surprised. How is he saying that you don't die? That is because Arjuna has come from experiential world so far, not from the transcendental world. Lord has come from the transcendental world. So those two worlds are different. Kabir Maharaj says, "Tu कहता कागज की लेखी, मैं कहता आखन की देखी, तेरा मेरा मनवा कैसे एक हुई रे." You cannot understand what I know from the standpoint where you are, yet let me start explaining you from my standpoint, and then further the explanations will keep coming till the point you would get convinced. And sometimes you would have a lot of issues even after in the conviction, even after your development, then I might come across something like Vishwarupa Darshan, etc. That also I will do for you, so that you get firmly and ultimately convinced. Because Arjuna, if you get convinced, then down the line in this Sanatana Hindu Dharma, thousands of years after that, there are people like you who would be trying to become Arjuna and trying to ask the same question. For every generation to come, the questions will be same. The answer will be same. The one who gives answer will also be the same. That is why Gurudeva, in order to show this difference in the different worlds, he says, a beautiful world of wondrous plumage, the beautiful bird of wondrous plumage, if somebody has seen, he has no choice but to describe it in relation to the birds that are seen by you in your land. We are trying to find out the address of God because we are used to identify everything by address. हमको यहाँ दर दर फिराया यार ने, ला मकामे घर बनाया यार ने. I am searching him in the house and he is la makam, he is without house. Now, since you are asking for the address, let me tell you one thing. All the addresses, the way they are written in your land, they do not apply to me. What is written in your land? That something gets cleaved. Chindanti. In my land, nothing like that happens. Na enam chindanti. In your land, things get burnt up and reduced to ash. Na enam dahati pava. Pudhatu. Pudhatu is pava. That is why word pavan is to purify. Pavitra is also from the same dhatu. Punya is also from the same dhatu. Purify. Purify because the heat purifies. The same heat in the form of tapas purifies a person. So purification, burning, pu, the one who burns cannot burn him. So your fire doesn't reach my place. Your shastra doesn't reach my place. Nacha enam kledayanti. Klida is to become wet. The one that becomes wet, drenched with water, is klid. Nacha enam kledayanti apo na. Shus, to dry. Shoshayati marutah. Even the wind cannot dry it. The reference given of Kenopanishada by Gurudeva, it comes at the end of the Kenopanishada in the 4th chapter. It's a beautiful example. In fact, the first 3 are dedicated to the scientific explanation or a philosophical dialogue. It is entirely philosophical. And all of a sudden, the Upanishad moves towards the story. And the story is very simple. One Yaksha appears in the sky, and because he was never seen earlier, all these primordial elements like the fire and the wind and everybody, they come together and say, who is this? Who is this who has come on the horizon? Then they decide, let us go one by one and ask and annihilate that Yaksha. So first, the Agni was sent. When the Agni was sent, that Yaksha asks, who are you? And the entity says, and the Agni says, I am Jata Vedaha. I am the firstborn. I have witnessed the birth of everyone. I am the Agni. I can burn everybody. And then a small truna is thrown by this entity and says, okay, burn this if you have the power. And with all power, the fire cannot burn it. So it comes back and tells the others that I cannot do anything about it. And the same thing happens for the Vayu and everything. And when Indra goes to this entity, suddenly Tirodhanam Bhavati. The entity disappears. And then what appears there is Haimavati. Haimavati is the name given to this entity, Brahman, who says that all of you are simply existing and doing your functions because of me. Hey Agni, hey Jala, hey Vayu, hey Prithvi, hey Akasha. All of you are having your glories at my behest. That is where the Kathopanishad, the Kenopanishad concludes. And that is why Gurudev has given in different manners how one Panchamahabhuta superior to the other. which ultimately is nothing but the interplay of the gunas. By tamoguna adhikya, the prakriti tattvas are formed. This tamoguna adhikya, with the help of little rajo and little mana, little sattva guna, the entire creation, the ashtadha prakriti is formed. All that is because of gunas. All these three gunas are the nature of the prakriti, and entire prakriti is at the base of purusha. That is the reason these can be destroyed, these can be changed, these can be interplayed, these can be mixed, there can be panchikaran, there can be anything, but the one who created them is not at all disturbable, because he is, now the adjectives start, achedyo. He is achedya, he is adayya, he is akledya, he is ashoshya. All the adjectives are there because nothing that happens as an instrument or a medium of transforming things here, because all this is Shadavikara Vashat. All these Shadavikaras, the instrumental case, that is why in Tritiya, Agnena, Jalena, Vayuna, this is because Vayavena, this is because of third Tritiya Vibhakti, instrumental case. Through them, these vikaras keep coming. Now, since I am a vikari, none of these instruments, so I cannot be put into any vibhakti except Sambodhanam, hey Deva. That being the reason, now that I have told you the negative connotation of my description, let me come to positive connotation of my description. What I am not, first I told you, because that is what you're familiar with. Chedanam, you're familiar with. So I am Achedya. Dayya, you're familiar with. I am not. Now, this all sounds little imaginary, little too much stretched for those stupid scientific minds who have a lot of pride in them about of science. They say it's all stupidity. Let me give you a live example. You might have heard of Pavahari Baba.
Yes.
The Maharaj whom Swami Vivekananda wanted to make his guru. However, in spite of umpteen attempts, he could not, because every time he went to take initiation, Ramakrishna Paramahamsa came in the jungle and said, no, I am your guru. Ultimately, he gave up that, but he had immense respect for Pavahari Baba. This Pavahari Baba, how did he end his life? One fine morning, people outside his hut, because his hut was closed, he never allowed anybody to come in. Inside from his hut, some flesh smell started coming of burning flesh. Then the people broke open the door and went inside, and what did they see? The entire body Pavahari Baba has thrown into the fire. Now comes the question, why there was no shout, screaming, pain, cry? Nainam dahati pavakaha. Even though I am vested with the Panchamahabhuta, yet I can be beyond the power of the fire, was shown in a very clear terms. How did Sanjeevan Samadhi of Jnaneshwar Maharaj or Alam Prabhu happen? Everything was closed around. The last brick was put by Namdev Maharaj, and Jnaneshwar Maharaj took Samadhi, Sanjeevana Samadhi. How? What confidence? It was not the suicide of the body, it was suicide of the mind, as Gurudev calls it. This happened simply because they knew Achedya, Adaya, Akledya, Ashosha, I am. And if this is not an intellectual understanding, this is intuitive understanding, Anubhuti, Atma Darshana Paschat. What difference does it make? Not only that, not only one's own body, even other bodies are not seen like that. Santa Gora Kumbhar, he was a potter. Hari, 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 Hari kept on saying Hari, 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 and he was actually trying to make the mud out of the clay. some small toddler came there. He did not see that even he killed the toddler also, because he kept saying Hari 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 Hari. People came, they beat him, he said Hari Hari Hari. After that the child became alive, he said Hari Hari. What does this indicate? This indicates one thing, that one who is established in that tattva. And what kind of tattva is that tattva? That tattva is nityah, sarvagatah, sthanuhu, achalam, sanatanaha. This is positive connotation of something which cannot be described. One is by niti, anvaya bhasha, vyatireka bhasha. In two ways it can be done. All pervading is a short term of inconceivable depth of significance. Even Gurudev could not speak beyond this about his own experience. Gurudev came very close to say, but he said no word can explain. So you could smell it here. That is why this is precisely what even Kabir Maharaj said. Avdhuta yugana yugana ham yogi. Sabhi thor par jamaat hamari, sabhi thor par mela. Hum sabma, sab hamima, hum hai bahuri akela. This is the situation, this is the status. Achala. Except him, everything is achala. That is why Kabir Maharaj says, Sab chala chali ka khela. Bas do din ka hai mela. That is all this Pancha Mahabhuta thing. Shankaracharya says, Nityatvat sarvagataha. Because it is nitya, it is sarvagata. Sarvagatatvat sthanuhu. Sthiratvat achalaha. Na kutaschit karanat nishpannaha iti sanatanaha. Why these 5 adjectives have been used? Acharya has explained. Buddhi gocharat apanna sat samsara nivruttyaye syad iti. And Acharya himself has said that why again and again Lord is talking about that Atma, which is didn't discuss that Atma. He has given that this Dvirukti, or this repetition that is happening, is because Vasudeva wants that somehow in our brain it gets ingrained that you are not what you think to be, but you are Atman. And that is why again and again it is hammered on the head throughout Upanishads, throughout Brahma Sutra, throughout Bhagavad Gita, throughout Puranas, throughout Itihasa, throughout Gurudeva. All that Gurudeva is doing is constantly putting, there is a mud pot which is constantly hit by a small thing, wooden spatula by the potter. So Gurudev is a potter, this is the pot. And our pot is neither baked. This pot has to be properly baked, then only he will stop beating us. Till it is baked properly, till it is shaped properly, this will keep continuing, and that is the reason truth is stable at the base and firm at the top. In its infinite glory, it has no movement anywhere. We just read it, we by heart it, we repeat it, but nothing goes inside the head. That how is it possible that something that never moves, never does anything, yet everything happens? Again, reconciliation between the two different planes. That is why the biggest psychological, philosophical absurdity or dilemma is to reconcile the material world with the spiritual world. And doing this itself is sadhana, which can be done only under the auspices of parampara, of Guru, Shishya parampara. That is why go anywhere, you will be in darkness, unless under the light of Gurudeva's buddhi. So Gurudeva's buddhi is the light. We are supposed to use only the eyes, not our buddhi. Don't reverse it. Don't use your buddhi and Gurudeva's eyes. Gurudeva's buddhi, our eyes. Then only the things can progress so that we understand the precise meaning. Hari Om. That was doing misuse of the consciousness because of the prarabdha karmas. So when I see everything around me as Atma Tattvam, then I see Atma Tattvam in Duryodhana, and that I respect same as me, because me and he are not different. Because now we are in this world, phenomenal world. In the nominal world, nominan, that world, both are same, everything is same, everything is indestructible. In the Upadhi Vishwa, when somebody becomes a deer and I become a king and I'm going for an hunting, then what is happening is the one who is killing is a Upadhi is killing a Upadhi. So upadhi, killing a upadhi is as per the karma and the rule of the karma. But the consciousness indwelling into what is killed and who is killing, that being same, that is the, and the simpler version of this particular philosophy given by Gandhiji is hate the sin, not the sinner. Because sinner is consciousness, that Chaitanyam is there. So always have a nice, when Rama destroyed the Asuras and the Rakshasas, was he not knowing that he's not destroying the soul? Because he knew that his soul of Rakshasa and mine is same. However, the Upadhi Rakshasa is to be killed. So Kamsa Chanura Mardanam, when Vasudeva was doing that particular act, what he was doing was Upadhi was being taught a lesson, not the consciousness. So it is like a errand boy who has been basically put under limitations so that he studies for his betterment. Now the question is here, you are not hating the child, you are basically wanting his betterment. That being the reason even Bhishmacharya said, Lord, what more can there be other than an arrow coming from your side? What did Ravana say? I wanted to be mukta, that is why Rama had to come all the way. But that is why again Tri-Satta Siddhanta, Vyavaharika Satta, altogether different. If you are thirsty, will you not drink water? Will you say that no, water, nothing, akriya atma, no, you will die. What will die? Upadhi will die. So you want Upadhi to die, you can do that. And when can you allow Upadhi to die? When you are established into the Atma Tattvam, then it is up to you, Ichhamaran. If you want to take Samadhi, you can, because you are at a standpoint where you can take that decision. Till the time you are into Upadhi Vishwa, you will have to follow the rules of Upadhi, but the standpoint has to be taken from the soul point. That is the reason why, how can you not hate anybody in this world? The Vaishnava is defined as one who doesn't hate anybody in this world. Then what about the terrorists? In the Upadhi form, I may, but at consciousness standpoint, I will never. That is why it depends upon where you are established. Are you?